Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I've talked to a lot of you in these past few weeks, and to be honest, you sound a little down. And to be honest, I also feel a little down. This time in our world, it's hard for so many reasons. One of them I realize is that I feel, at least, as if so many of our fundamental systems are under threat right now. If you're a parent of young children like I am, you're paralyzed by the prospect of education. Our whole school system is being challenged. Will it open? Will it function? Will it educate? And for all of us, our family systems are being challenged. Can we flourish in this new environment? How can we be apart? How can we be together? Our justice system is being challenged. As systems of oppression persist, how can we help equality to proliferate? How can we ensure that our government will properly support our health and our finances and our civic engagement if we think it should? Family, education, government. It seems like the fundamental structures of our society are burning down. We like to call this time unprecedented, as if nothing like this has ever happened before. But Ein kol chadash tachat hashemesh, there is nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes wrote that in the Jewish Bible around the year 250 BCE. Judaism offers context for everything, every human experience, even this. So tonight I'd like to share a text with you that I feel addresses some of our reality. Here it is. Rabbi Yitzhak taught, there is a parable about a person that wandered from place to place and saw a certain palace that was on fire. He said, will you say that this palace is without a master? In other words, who lives here? Who's in charge of this place anyways? Without hesitation, the master of the palace looked out at him and said, I am he. I am the master of this palace. So it was with Abraham. When Abraham said, will you say that this world is without a director? And God looked out at him, and God said, I am the director of the world. The question is, when fundamental elements of our society seem like they are in danger of burning down, what do we do? When the palace is on fire, what are we supposed to make of it? When I interviewed for this position at the Village Temple, the text I just read you was the text I taught to the search committee, and tonight I want to teach it to you a little bit. I didn't know it would be eerily relevant to us now, but I keep coming back to it. On the night of June 1st, it came back to me again. It was the night that the George Floyd protests erupted in our city. I looked out of my window. On one side, a police barricade with dozens of flashing lights to close off incoming traffic. On the other side, I looked out and I saw that the building across from mine was literally on fire. What do you do when the world is on fire? From the text, I take 3 lessons. 1, validation. The world is on fire. That night I looked out my window, there was a literal fire, but I've talked to you, and I know that near the Village Temple, there were many, many more. Police vehicles were on fire, and buildings were set ablaze. But of course, when I say the world is on fire, I am also speaking in a metaphorical sense. What's happening to us is real, and it's deeply challenging. If you feel down, that makes sense. If you feel angry, that makes sense. If you want to rip that mask off your face and throw it away, I get it. You shouldn't do it, but emotionally, I understand. We as Jews have had many hard times before. From a palace on fire in the middle of the desert, to persecution, to pogroms, to exiles, to anti-Semitism, we know hardship. And this is one of those times. It is hard. It is not fair. It is not fun. You feel challenged because you are challenged. It makes sense. Point 2. Despite all of this, the world is a palace. If you've ever spent the day at the beach, gazed at a mountain range, or let yourself take a nap in the grass, you know this. Ma tovu oholech Yaakov, how good are your tents, O Jacob. How wonderful are your dwelling places, O Israel. We live in a universe that is a palace. And a palace, by the way, does not build itself. There's a vision there, crafted by an intentional architect with structure and thought and planning and design. So too is the case with our world. God created this world and saw that it was good, even very good. We don't live in a random hodgepodge of accidents. Our universe is a beautiful temple contoured by a divine hand. Notice, by the way, that in the story, the master of the palace has not left the building. He is there for the long haul, even when it's aflame. Remember that even in our darkest moments, moments of deep personal challenge, we are not alone. The owner of this beautiful and complicated house in which we all live is still very much at home. Point 3, perspective. The phrase for fire in the story, bira doleket, is also the word for illuminated, meaning it could be read as the palace is not on fire, but the palace is illuminated. Remember, fire is not just a destructive force. It's a life-saving force. We kindle fire to welcome the warmth of Shabbat, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. We illuminate manuscripts to help immerse ourselves in their wisdom. We feed ourselves with fire, nourishing our body through the power of heat and flame. When you watch the Yankees hit not one, but multiple home runs, you say, that team is on fire, and you mean it as a compliment. When you arrive at a great party, maybe you say, this place is lit. Point is, it's not all bad. Some of it is quite remarkable. Could this fire help us illuminate the injustice of the world? Could it be an awakening about our priorities, about who we care about and about what we fight for? Could this fire ignite the energy in the youth of our country to build a better civilization for all people? Conclusion. Judaism cannot extinguish the flames in the world. They will always be there. But our job as Jews is to attempt to turn this burning world into an exquisite palace. Remember, at the end of the story, Abraham sort of asks, God, where are you? Your palace is on fire, don't you see? And God sticks God's head out of the window and says, Abraham, I'm here, but where are you? So where are you in all of this? Our Jewish job is to help fan the flames of destruction into the flames of hope and optimism and possibility and peace. Our Jewish job is to have the perspective that what's happening in our world is not tearing things down only. It's possible to build them back into the pristine palace that was always intended. Months ago, when I first came into contact with some of you, I wrote a prayer. And before I had any idea that any of this was coming. And I want to conclude with it tonight. Eloheinu velohei avotenu ve'imotenu, God and God of our mothers and our fathers, may we be blessed with the ability to gaze upon the palace of the world. May we stand in amazement as we witness the contours and the curves of your design. May we be granted the inner strength to help put out the fires of our universe. Where there is evil, let us bring good. Where there is discrimination, let us usher in justice. Where there is pain, let us nourish joy. May we, the Jewish people, and all the people of the world, be sheltered under the wings of peace in your perfect palace. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.